Let there be sound. There should be sound, and there should be me. Hello, and welcome to the 52 Miniatures live stream. My name is Alex, and I'm a bit warm because of I didn't actually play soccer, but I did listen to soccer, and it was a bit exciting. And so I had to take this off, but I've still got this. How are you all doing? I hope you're well. It's Sunday, and I'm streaming because it felt like a nice day to stream. There's people waiting. There's people here. Hello, Blue Fangs. Great. We've got admin. Good day to you, madam. Mark. Great timing. I just finished watching the back and forth slug fest. Yeah, but it all of a sudden it turned very exciting, didn't it? And so congratulations to Argentina. I'm guessing there's quite the party going on right now in Buenos Aires, probably, and the rest of Argentina. Hello, Phil and Clyde, Gordon, Adrian. Good to see you. I haven't moved. I've just moved the camera and myself. We're going for a bit more of a sci-fi look today, I think. Hello, Mark. Phil says it's minus 22 degrees Celsius here. Good thing I had the soccer to keep me warm. Yeah, it's actually not that cold here today. I don't know where you are, but it's a good thing it's not minus 22 because energy is rather expensive at the moment. Hello, Ryan. Trudy says, "Will you celebrate with the Messi stream?" And, I'm not the hugest soccer fan, but it's like the World Cup final is it's if I'm ever going to watch soccer, that would be the time, wouldn't it? Hello, Adventures in Crafting and Sugar Candy Miniatures. Nice to see you, Princess Damien as well. Mark says, "I think you would make a great alternative commentator for watching important football matches." Maybe. I think I would need a bit faster wit to be able to pull that off. I'd probably just start rambling on about something completely different and just miss the fact that someone scored a goal or something. My son's really sort of excited about soccer when it's at sort of this level. But so that's fun. Mark says, "Nifty thumbnail, by the way. Thank you." I had my fan. It's still up there. Maybe you can sort of see it. I had to, for another project involving miniatures, I had to take pictures of the miniatures, so I had my fancy flash out, and so I thought I might as well use the fancy flash to take the picture for the thumbnail. Hello, Joe Rogers from Ireland. Phil says, "Messi Space Marine diorama." Yeah, that'd be a thing. Seacon says, "Good evening. I got myself a nice warm cup of tea." So did I. The Edmund 30 says, "Hi, thank you for opening my eyes to Turnip 28. I'm glad I did. I mean, I didn't massively say so much about the game. I don't think I said anything about the game, really. I just, wanted to highlight the fact that there was miniatures out and that Max had the Kickstarter going. But I'm glad that was enough of an introduction for you to find the world of Turnip 28. It's rather, it really has a following, which is cool. George says, "Good evening. Nice to be here. Sunday is my least favorite day of the weekend. It's so much shorter than Saturday or even Friday evening." I agree. I've actually been very productive today. I've been working all day, if you want to call it that, on the next video. And I've actually cleaned up the studio here a little bit as well. And yeah, so Sunday, today has been like Monday. So I'm getting 2 Mondays this week. Mark says, commenting on the color tones of the team shirts. Yeah, something like it. Michael, good evening to you too. And hello, Alison. And Tim, good to see you. And hello, Green Wizard and Martin. Nice to see you. We've got 2 admins. So I figured, I mean, this is sort of like, I was pleased with the title of this stream, and I've already forgot it. It was a world record in USH, and hobby, holidays, happy hobbying kind of a thing. And because this will probably be my last live stream before Christmas holidays, at least, maybe even for this year. Maybe we'll see. It depends on whatever I'm going to be doing with my son when he's got time off school during Christmas. So I figured it was time for like a holiday special, which is why we're in this nice and cozy setting with me wearing a very Christmassy outfit. And yeah, kind of missed that bit. But it's been a very nice year for hobbying, I think, and especially for me in this channel. So it feels kind of nice just trying to get into the Christmas spirit with you all. Martin says, remember to like the stream, please. It helps the algorithm. Yes, it always feels a bit sort of nagging saying please like and all of that. But it's actually true. If you press like, then other people will see that this stream exists. It's just one of those things. Even people who subscribe to this channel sometimes don't see that I'm actually live because YouTube doesn't deem it as important. And the more you press like, the more important it is. Martin says, we missed out on Christmas-themed 52 miniatures merch. Yeah, I've been thinking a bit about merch, Martin, because I kind of stripped down a little bit. There's the bare essentials on the merch thingy. I was going to say SoundCloud, but that's not it. Teespring. But yeah, I'm going to have a bit of a think about merch. One thing is that I like sort of how everything works with Teespring because I don't really have to do anything except, design the merch, which usually is just drag and drop an image on a t-shirt and you're done. And then they just do everything. But they also charge for it quite a lot. And on the whole, I'm not really selling all that much merch. I think maybe I've sold like 4 t-shirts since March. Not quite, but almost. So it's nice that it's there, but it's not really, that huge a thing. And so I should be doing something about it so that people maybe can find merch that they're actually interested in buying, because I'm guessing that's the issue. And is it then possible to do it in some other fashion than doing it off a Teespring so that it actually, a bit more of the money comes my way? Because that's usually why people, I'm doing the teacup thing again, I know. It's usually why people buy merch, is to support the channel. And then when you use a service where not much of that money ends up with the creator, then maybe it's good to find another way of doing it. I don't know. I'm gonna have a look around. I'm just gonna drink some tea. Okay, wait. I've been talking a bit with an artist about making an artwork, piece of art thingy, drawing art related to a recent video. We'll see if anything happens. But if I do that, then I'm going to have to find a way of sort of selling that to you, and I won't be able to do that through Teespring. So then I need to sort of set up a website with like a shop function thing. And yeah, I'm rambling about boring things. How are you all doing? And what are you hobbying with? What are you doing? You painting stuff, building stuff? Excited about things? I am excited about this. But we'll talk about that in a bit. Gordon says, to be frank, your merch is not that imaginative. Your skill could come up with something a lot more attractive. Yes. Well, I mean, I don't think I think that is actually an issue, Gordon. I don't have any skill in that department. I can film stuff. I can write scripts. I can take photographs. I can paint miniatures. I cannot design merch. And when am I going to be doing that? That's another issue. It's like, I spend a lot of time making videos. Making merch is pretty low down on the priority list. And so, yeah, that's another issue. But we'll see. We'll see. Jonas says, greetings from Germany. Just recently discovered your channel, but mighty impressed. Really love the somber tone and grown-up atmosphere. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's all a front. Turns out we're actually just playing around with toy soldiers. But yes, it was actually a thing when I started back in the hobby. Like, I used to paint when I was younger, and then I haven't been in the hobby for years and years, and then I got back into the hobby, and I really liked the buying of the paints and like the buying of the miniatures and the painting and stuff like that. But the rest of this, a lot of it kind of scared me a little bit, because I wasn't into like growling and listening to heavy metal. Even though I don't mind listening to heavy metal, I just don't really need it when I press a video. Like, everything was like, wah! I've gotten used to that now, and I don't really mind it. But that was one of the reasons I started making videos, was actually, maybe there's more people like me that are a bit sort of, reserved in the death metal department, which I'm not. I'm just using it as a cliche. And so I hope I hope a lot of my videos, fill a function, because there's so many of us making videos about the wee little plastic men and women, and yeah, I hope mine fill a purpose. Ooh, people are giving me money. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate it. You're already, a patron and all of that. But thank you. It's like a cup of coffee, which is great. And Plastic Panzer Factory, Isaac, as well. Thanks. I appreciate it. Mark from Montana says, how about 52 miniatures knitted cap for the merch store? The folk in Canada have a cute name for that headgear, but it escaped my memory bank right now. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that could be done. I think merch is like way down on my priorities list. Struggling to get the videos done, honestly, like time-wise. Blue Fangs says, I'm going to spend a day with my maybe new job tomorrow. Well, that is exciting. I wish you good luck. And hello, that was really difficult to read. When How Woo, 23. Welcome. Plastic Panther Factory says, hi, Alex. It's my birthday today and at my parents', so I won't be able to stick around. Okay, well, a happy birthday. And yes, I will listen to the Mechanicus soundtrack. I promise. It's just, I won't tell you when I'm going to do it, but I will do it. But congratulations on your birthday. Malarins is airbrushing newly 3D printed miniatures. Excellent. It's fascinating, the 3D printing thing. Ryan Tyrrell asks, could you sell Alex clones to paint our minis? I imagine you make a lot of money that way. Maybe a shirt too. Yeah, can I make one for myself first? I have been jokingly referring to there's the painter Alex, and then there's the editor Alex, and there's the writer Alex. There's also the cameraman Alex and sound tech Alex. Marketing Alex, accountant Alex, and a lot of different Alexes working in this business. But I'll see if I can lend you one to do some painting. It's good to see what you're all working on. I'm not going to read it. Oh, there's the jump of the chat. Not going to read all of it out loud, but I'm glad to see you're working on stuff. Adventures in Crafting is trying to figure out my next crafting project. Think scatter terrain like barricades and that was not walls, etc. Yeah, scatter terrain is pretty cool stuff. I've been printing out. I haven't really assembled it. Sort of when the printer hasn't had anything to do for a while, and I think, oh wait, I should print something because I have a 3D printer. I print out like oil drums and wooden boxes and crates and all of that kind of stuff that I'm gonna put on little things, like weird sci-fi, generators, ventilators, energizers, supervisors, all that kind of stuff, which is cool, sort of scatter terrain for sort of sci-fi skirmish games like Stargrave that I plan to enjoy. For sort of fantasy, it's I don't know. I feel it's a little bit trickier because it's always things that has to do with cities, like barrels and maybe a cart. A cart's good, like but there's not all. I don't know. My imagination doesn't. All of it, it's just things that would maybe go in a city, which is not always where you think you do your fantasy game. Usually, sci-fi games is always like, yeah, there's some starport or some factory, some it's not as often that maybe you're in the jungle or in the forest when you're doing the sci-fi visually. But with fantasy, it's always like, well, of course you're in the forest. It's fantasy. Fantasy is always in the forest. Where else would the unicorns and elves go? And so then you're down to trees and tree stumps and obelisks, and I find all that a little bit boring. Ruins. There's always the ruins. It's like, oh, it's fantasy. There's going to be a ruin. Yeah. So if you have any ideas, great ideas on sort of fun scatter terrain fantasy, please write it in the chat. Hello, Halika. Mark Flanagan says somber and grown up. Sorry, I must have come into the wrong chat room. Yeah, me too. I'm old, but I'm not grown up, I think. Or was it the other way around? Pagumb says, would be interested in seeing your take on Turnip 28 terrain. Yeah, because that's weird stuff, isn't it? It's like old future in the past, but in the future. I've honestly, like in my mind, a lot of the Turnip 28 concept is very sort of bogged down mud, you know. I guess factories. Yeah, probably factories. I don't know. That was an exciting thought. Thank you. Mark from Montana says, just got back to my hobby room after a 7-day road trip, and I'm going to try the undershade face painting technique that you showed on Eve, the Space Marine. Yeah, that was a bit. I've seen it around, and mainly in images. And then I think I saw a Roman Laporte video where he sort of speed painting a face or something like that. The video's called is painting a bust very fast. I find it very informative, but it's always tricky to watch speed painting videos with very skilled painters because they're able to work a lot faster usually than not sort of super talented. You know, if you know you've put so much effort into becoming a good painter, then usually. Did you just see that the entire desk just moved? But anyway, essentially it's about how a face can usually is perceived with a few different color tints that can be always the same. It's like it's a bit cooler down here because it's more in shade, and you've usually got sort of a bit more red going around the cheek area, and then it's a bit warmer here because maybe that's where the sun is shining, or you know, stuff like that. And so it's oftenly sort of described in pictures as like, this is yellow, this is red, this is blue. But that can be kind of difficult to translate onto a little miniature head, and like, how are you going to do it? And then I've seen in a few places, and especially that Roman Laporte video where he Laporte. I'm sorry, Roman. Essentially paints the entire face in a green first, like a bright green, and then just does like batches, which is what I did, which is like yellow. And I sort of wet blended that a little bit into the green, and then there was a red, and I blended those two together, and then the blue. So you got like a bright yellow patch, bright red patch, and a bright blue patch, and the rest is green. And then when you cover that with a skin tone, which is usually it's depending on the sort of ethnicity of the person, but let's talk Caucasian skin tones. It's sort of like a red, pink, warm brown kind of a color. And so what happens with the green, like if you mix green and red, usually you get a brown. So you get more of a sort of a brown tone wherever things were green, and you get a bit more of a warmer yellow skin tone where everything was, and so on and so forth. The trick is to get that undercoat to still sort of shine through whatever you're doing on top of it. I used an airbrush, and it was still a little bit sort of weak. But what I did then is I could, it became like a guide, same as with the Zenithal Prime almost, where you just get that hint of like where things should be brighter. In this case, after the airbrush, I got a hint of where things would be a bit warmer or cooler, and it was pretty easy to then sort of exaggerate that when I was doing the highlighting or shading after the airbrush. It gave me great hints of what sort of color tones to use. So what I did then in the wet palette was I took the same skin tone that I had been using, and I just mixed in the same, a little bit of blue, a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, and used those to sort of enhance whatever was going on. And so that was fun. And I wish you luck, Mark. Let's see. Trude says, I've joined the Kickstarter for Turnip 28 and wait for that, as I have no 3D printer. The hobby is really a hobby, so I have no greater plans to do much of it, just have fun. Well, that's the point of the hobby, I think. I hope to have fun. So I hope you will have fun. Gordon says he's retiring at the end of this year, and next year I plan to take up painting miniatures and making diorama drawing inspiration from the channels like mine and other great YouTubers. Well, I think that sounds like a great plan for retirement. Good stuff. Green Wizard is trying to finish up some Star Wars Clone Troopers minis that I received last Christmas before I received more this Christmas. I mean, it sounds like you're on schedule. Hello, Cyborg Sloth. I hope you're doing well. Bluefangs says, I really like the Warcry terrain, but maybe that's too mainstream. Is that like Ruin, like the first edition of Warcry terrain, like, which is more, that's sort of like Ruin-esque, isn't it? Then there's the new stuff, which is like trees and bamboo sticks and stuff, which is rather fun. I actually kind of thought that was cool. Do they ever sell that terrain as just terrain, or do you have to buy the entire box with all the minis as well? That's usually that's the way, isn't it? Mini shrines says when how woo, yeah. Sort of falls into the same. In my mind, it's a good idea. I'm not saying your idea is bad, but it that's what I'm. It feels like it falls into the same category as like a fountain, or it's just so very typical fantasy, which is good, I guess. The dung goblin's castle pile for fantasy terrain. You mean goblin's dung? It's like. The brown tabletop. Hello, PV. Gordon says Turnip 28 is amazing. Paradoxically, I'm sorry it's become mainstream on YouTube. Yeah, that seems. I'm not going to dig too deep in this and just touch the surface before the pariahs jump out and bite my fingers off. It seems to be a little bit of a thing in wargaming and hobbies like ours, that we'd like to find our niche, and then we want it to be left alone exactly as the way it is when we found it, because that's what we liked, and we sort of tend to stick to what we like. On my most recent video, there's a lot of comments that sort of, in the end, I think that's where a lot of people didn't like the video, and a lot of the comments seem to stem from that same thought, which is like change is bad, and things should be the way they have always been, because that is what I started to enjoy and still enjoy. And I have been getting people saying this about Turnip 28 as well. That sort of got into Turnip 28 pretty hardcore, and it was about the kit bashing and the world building and all of this. And then all of a sudden, there's 3D files that you can buy that are actually created by the same person that created the story in the game in the first place. But this is still, a bad thing, which is interesting. So yeah. Bluefang says, I got some laser cut terrain from War Cradle. Lovely to have, not so nice to paint. Yeah, let's not get into painting MDF terrain. I really should. Like, I'm looking forward. Sorry, I'm looking forward to the year of 2023, because that will be the year when I finish my Stormcast army and I paint all my MDF terrain. There it is. You heard me say it. So yeah, I'm with you there, Blue. Phil says, fantasy terrain, dead unicorns and bow monkeys hanging from trees. Bow monkeys is Phil's nickname for elves. He's not fond of elves. I think if there would be a sort of a film, a fantasy film with Phil in it, he'd be the guy with like the necklace with like elf ears that he's cut off, kind of a thing. Phil the elf killer G. The Edmund 30 says scatter corpses. Yes, that's a very good point. But that goes for both. We're talking scatter terrain, but that goes for sci-fi as well. I'm morbidly very attracted to like using corpses on the tabletop, because there's all this talk about it's the grim dark and everything's horrible and yada yada yada, but there's never any like where's the dead, where is it on the tabletop when we play? Where's all the corpses and like the massacres and all this horrible stuff? It's all just shiny heavy metal painted. Sorry, I'm not going to rant. But yeah, I have bought STL files of some corpses, and I think I'm going to buy more. And eventually I'm going to print them, and I'm going to have corpses. Especially playing sort of like Age of Sigmar or something on the terrain, it's just like some little poor village where there's a battle and all the civilians kind of got in the way. It's terrible, but it's war. Ian says, good morning, and good morning, Ian. Loving this new time for the live stream. Good way to start a Monday here in New Zealand. I'm glad you could join us. I've figured that with these live streams and with other things that I might talk about if I write it down. Anyway, I'm not good at keeping schedules for these things, and it stresses me out. So I'm not going to do it. Keep the schedules. I'm just going to, if it's like, this seems like a nice day to stream, then I'm going to stream. And yesterday I was like, I should stream tomorrow. It's a good day, and maybe I can do it a bit later. And so streams are just going to be when I like to do them, and hopefully, still regularly, definitely. Yeah. Just, it's not going to be like every other Sunday or whatever. One of the reasons is when I change the day or change the time, usually more people that usually can't join in can join in for different reasons. Like yourself, if I stream a bit later, then you can actually catch it because you're living in an upside down world on the other side of the planet. How that even works with a flat planet, I don't know. But yeah, and so if I would always have the same schedule, then maybe you couldn't have joined in. And like last time I streamed on a Thursday, and lots of people could tune in that never were able to tune in. So yeah, it's just going to be whenever. And I'm also going to try and do it later sometimes, like today, so that you dear folk over on that side of the world can join in as well. Mark says, you wet blended it. I missed that. Yeah, I don't think it's all that important, Mark. I did because I always kind of do. I thought, a little nice with a little bit of a gradient. But honestly, I don't think that's very important, especially not when just trying it out. Just slap the paint on there and see how you go, see if the technique is anything that works for you. It should work pretty well. Mark usually paints miniatures that are a little bit larger. And so the technique should be, it was very soft. And so on a face that isn't bigger than something this size, that I can't think of something else that is as small. It's like a kidney stone. The face the size of a kidney stone. It's the small subtle differences in the hue of the skin is, it needed to be exaggerated quite a lot to even be the slightest bit prominent. And obviously, the bigger the face, the more subtleties you can work with. And since your miniatures usually are a little bit larger, Mark, then it might be pretty beneficial. One of the most popular dioramas in the world must be the nativity scene. Yeah. I missed that one. It would have been an obvious. I do my little Space Marine dioramas, so it would have. I think next year maybe we can get a Space Marine nativity scene. It'd be fun. So both Blue Fangs and Liam says there is separate boxes for the terrain. I should buy something like that at some point. I've never bought or handled or painted Games Workshop terrain. I probably should at some point, just to see what it's like. Human City Junction says, happy holidays. Happy holidays to you too. Do you airbrush with scale 75 paints? Any suggestions on what to use for thinner? I've found a color I like in the series. Well, yes. I airbrush any paint, and I have a lot of scale 75 paints, so I airbrush them as well. I actually use their thinner. The company is called Scale Color, and there's a Scale Color airbrush thinner. It's actually the one I use. What I tend to do, the scale 75 paints are rather thick, and so I don't really know them. I'd say like 3 parts thinner to 2 parts paint, or 1 part paint, depending on. Some of them are like thicker, some are a little bit thinner. I usually have a little bit of flow improver in there as well. And yeah. Like you would thin any paint, really, for airbrush. And that's different for different folks. I know there's folks that just thin with water. But I always use the scale color airbrush thinner and sometimes a little bit of what you call it, flow improver. Cyborg Sloth says, "Are you coming up with non-traditional fantasy terrain?" It was just someone who talked about fantasy terrain, and I realized that I kind of appreciate future sci-fi scatter terrain, the aesthetics of it. I like the crates and the boxes and the whatever you can use as even just the sort of steel wire fences or stuff like that. Concrete walls. That I appreciate. I appreciate that aesthetic, and I don't appreciate this similar aesthetic in fantasy because it feels, I don't know. I don't know why, but it's always the ruins and the spikes and the So I was trying to sort of what else could one use as scatter terrain in fantasy that isn't like so stereotypically fantasy-ish, Sorry, my chat just jumped a little bit. Fabrizio Bertolucci says, "Hey, just passed through to say that I love your videos and love the female space marine one." And yeah, I'm glad to hear it. Thank you. There's I don't want this sort of live stream to get too much into all of that. I'm very appreciated of everyone who's been very supportive because it's a bit of a sticky subject, and there's been heated debates and heated comments, and a lot of people that sort of unsubscribe to the channel because they don't appreciate the subject of a female space marine, which is fine. Everyone is definitely allowed to do what they want. I don't appreciate the people saying they're tired of getting this stuck in up their faces because it's like, well, don't watch the video. It's not. Yeah. But anyway, it's been great to get all the support, and I'm really glad I did that video. And yeah. It's obviously there's a few people that don't like the idea, and I think that's good that we can have a discussion about these things. And there's also a lot of people that don't want to have sort of what is called real world issues brought into their hobby time, which is another debate as well. I'm just really happy with the apples. It's my first sort of sculpting something, that actually is supposed to resemble something that isn't just a mess. And they look like apples. So, I think not enough attention has been given to the apples. Phil Morris says it's like that indie band you like hits big time, becomes famous, and it is no longer cool. Yeah, I guess there's some kind of a feeling of I guess exclusivity. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I've seen it happen a lot of times in the course, the short course of me having this channel. Certain people that were very engaged at the very start, and like very, very engaged and supportive, and as soon as things started to grow, that they would sort of disappear, and which I thought was sad because it was like developed into personal relationships. You swap emails back and forth and stuff, and then all of a sudden, people stop writing. For I think sort of the same reasons, which is strange because I'm still the same person, and I still sort of have the same type of message and kind of make the same type of videos. But it just seems to be a phenomena, I think, with discovering something that is just mine, and it doesn't feel as personal, relationship to the game or whatever it is when there's more people involved in it. I guess it's humans work in mysterious ways, much more so than probably anything else on this planet. Ryan is coming up with shirt ideas. That's good. This year I paint my army. Yeah. Adrian says, when you kill a character in the game, it should be replaced with a corpse that counts. And sticky terrain or passable with sturdy boots or a strong stomach or something. Yeah. What was that? As a game that Patreon just showed off a little bit. I can't remember what it was called. It's a mech game. There's by the way, there's Martin is saying that here as I hear joining the 52 Miniatures Patreon will help you achieve your 2023 hobby goals. And there's a link to the Patreon in the chat. You can join and become rich and famous. Yeah. One of the things that you get in the Patreon is access to a Discord channel where some patrons hang out and share ideas and painting tips and tricks and just random fun and whatever. And one Patreon just talked about a game that is a mech game, but it's based on Lego. I cannot remember what it's called, but hopefully someone in the chat will know what it is. And so essentially, I don't know, Jamie, if you're here, but yeah. So when you get a wound, you like take off a bit of Lego. Like piece of my arm is shot off, so you take that piece of Lego off, and you just and it ends up as terrain, So the more you body parts your mech loses, the more scattered terrain there is on the table. Kind of what you were saying there, Adrian, which is kind of cool. Bluefang says, I still want a black t-shirt. I think you can get a black t-shirt. You just can't get a black hoodie. But I think there's a black t-shirt. You just have to choose black, I think. Kronhaus says, hello, Alex. Nice to meet you the other day in the small shop. I see now why you are more into painting than playing. Do you mean because of my sci-fi mood? It was actually pretty astounding. About 5 minutes, maybe, from my home. There was this I've always seen, or have seen for a while. There's this little shop front, which mainly had sort of Nintendo posters and stuff like that, and would sell sort of used Nintendo games and TV computer thingies, you press buttons and Mario jumps on mushrooms, that kind of stuff. And sort of open every now and again, sort of like there's a notice on the door saying like this Saturday it's going to be open between 12 and 8, sort of like live streams really. So all of a sudden it's like, whoa, what's going on? It's open. And then he started to stock Warhammer, which is pretty rad. So I have a Warhammer store 5 minutes from my home. And so, please join the Patreon. You can just PayPal me money, I guess, or there's also the chat thing, like give Alex Warhammer money. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. So there's also a few folks trying to get like a like real life IRL community, gaming community going in the local area, which is tons of fun. Hello, Bill making stuff. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I was going to say lots of things to you, Bill, and I realized maybe I'm not sure if I should say them publicly because they're too rude. No, I'm sorry. I was thinking about, I'm trying to figure out how to come to your house, Bill. So we should talk about that. But welcome, everyone. Bill Making Stuff. If you haven't checked out Bill Making Stuff, please do. He's a lovely fellow and makes great videos on sort of crafting and stuff like that. I actually had a tip. I've got a little bit of a list. I tried to start this a few streams back, where it's actually not really trying to reduce the amount of ramble, but sort of actually write down some of the things that I've been introduced to since the last live stream, or things that have happened to me, like, getting a live stream. No, a Warhammer store just 5 minutes from my... Sorry, I need to get something out of my pocket. Just getting, a Warhammer store 5 minutes from my home, and I need some of this. It's like terribly dry, and my lips crack. So I use this. They're not paying me to say this because I don't think Elizabeth Arden paints miniatures. I think she's actually dead, isn't she? Is she? I'm sorry, Elizabeth, if you're not dead. This is her 8-hour cream. Rumor has it she started to make it because her horses got sort of stung by some kind of, flies, horse flies and stuff, and she'd put this on. Spoiled horses is all I have to say. Do you know how expensive this stuff is? Anyway, okay, I was talking about Bill, and then the list on that I have, which is, talking points for the stream. And on my list here is a YouTube channel, which that came to mind when I was talking about Bill, because this is another crafting channel called Geordie Crafts. I watched one of her videos, realizing, oh, wait a minute, I watched more of your videos. But you've got a new one out, and so great. I'm going to link her channel in the description of this video later on, as soon as the live stream is over. Geordie Crafts, I think she's doing a very good job at making entertaining and, good videos for YouTube on crafting. Please check her out. Hello, Mikey R. Hope you're well. Clyde. Have I said hi, Clyde? Hi, Clyde. You need a more magic polluted area with floating trees and other weird anomalies. That's a good idea, Clyde. There should be more sort of magical pollution. That's a good one. Lots of fun could. I think that's... I guess that's one of the things that I appreciate less about fantasy sort of gaming tables. It's because it's like, oh, what are we? Is it just medieval? Because that's pretty. It's like it's a forest with like a tower, and you're like, well, so are we playing medieval games now? Which is kind of what we are. But I guess, yeah, magical pollution. That's a good sort of keyword for when making sci-fi scatter terrain, maybe. Weird upside down stuff and colorful stuff. Stuff on fire, maybe. Yeah, good. Thank you. Adventures in Crafting says, I exclusively work in sci-fi as I prefer it. Yeah. I think with terrain, as when it comes to sort of houses and, my mind works better in sci-fi as well, I think. Yeah. sorry. People write nice things, so I get stuck reading them, and then I realize, oh wait, there's people watching me. Sometimes it's not easy to remember because it's actually just a camera. There's some comments about the Space Marine video, and yeah, thanks for the support. I'm not going to jump into it all too much because I don't want this stream to be about that as much. John Romero says, hello, hello. How is this lovely Sunday treating you? Pretty good. It's a bit late, which is good. But I'm realizing I've been working all day and it's now 9 o'clock. So maybe that's why my mind is a little muddled. Clyde says, last video made me want to do a bunch of Apple Marines. Exactly. That's the spirit. Brian says, you should never feel bad about what you like to build or create. Just don't understand why everyone believes their likes should supersede all other and attack anything that's not conventional. Yeah. There's tons of reasons, I think. I mean, okay. So I can understand that. I cannot understand the reasons. I'll be honest and say I don't get it. I don't. I can't really comprehend where you're coming from when people refer to sort of a game law as a reason to not progress. I can definitely understand why people feel that they don't want to progress. It's just a shame that it's in a field where I think it affects openness to new people to come into the hobby. I think it's kind of narrow-minded. And I think it's a shame that people don't watch the video, they just write the comment. But I also understand the feeling of being attacked by, someone like me who is in theory a person in power. Attacking is what apparently people feel that they have been attacked, and that's not nice. And so obviously people then jump to defend. So all this is just bound to happen. But so see, this is why I just don't really want to talk about it because it's just kind of too complex if it's not just going to be what the entire live stream is about. So I'm just going to leave it. But I very much appreciate the support. And I appreciate all the other comments as well, even though I, struggle to understand what's behind it. Mikey R says, my 2023 hobby goal is to actually do some hobbying. I wish you luck, Mikey. If not, you can always, of course you should. I'm rooting for you, Mikey R. Joe Rogers says, casualties in Malifaux, the best game no one plays, drops corpses or scrap markers depending on what type of unit they were. Necromancers can then use them, which is pretty cool. That's nice. Hello, Emily Khan. I hope you're well. Hi. And Gary. Adrian says, Mobile Frame Zero is the Lego game. Cool. Thanks, Adrian. Mark from Detroit, I hope you're well. Kronhauer says, I said hello to you and the shop clerk introduced me and you said you were more into painting than playing. Yes. No, I want to be into the playing. I just don't have the time because I paint a lot. that kind of does it. Vita, hello. I hope you're doing well, or W, as you like to be called. It says Bill's brother also has a great channel. Dan does. Yes, please check out Dan. He's been in here a few times as well. Jonah says, is the stream breaking up on your end as well? I get lots of stuttering. No, that's just me stuttering. It's when I think I say or I say or I stutter. It's I have difficulties thinking and talking at the same time. No, I haven't had any issues. Hello, Paul. Season's greetings to you too. Henrik says, for fantasy terrain, acid pools, gigantic mushrooms, dead fantasy creatures, and lots of stone statues. Yeah. See, that's the statue. Statues is kind of borderline. Maybe if, sort of magical statues gone wrong somehow, maybe. Yeah. I'm going to get into my list a little bit more here because now I've only done Geordie Crafts. Let's do the big box. This was, this is what I painted. Look how many miniatures I painted in a day. Isn't that remarkable? These are little Hobgrot slitters, I think they're called, from the Dominion box. I'm not going to show you too many details because these are part of another project that is, in the works. But yeah, I painted those in quite a short period of time, devising a recipe that I hope might be kind of beneficial to beginners. And it's I don't know when you'll get to see that stuff, but hopefully soon. But that's sort of one of the things I did this week, which was fun. Really love the miniatures. There's one that like these are some of my favorite miniatures out of recent Games Workshop for some reason. Like there's actually one of these is I think smoking a cigar or something and looking really mean. And yeah, I really like these. But I got this thing. So one of the reasons why I'm kind of stoked to be able to maybe paint all my MDF terrain and finish my Stormcast army next year is because when I've done that, I'll probably get into Conquest. There, I've said it. I hope so anyway. I think it's fabulous stuff. And I saw this thing on Instagram. It's a sea Jotnar. And I just love the way it was painted. Can you see that? You can see that. The colors will be a bit weird because of my grading and lights. But I saw the picture on Instagram and I really enjoy how it was painted, but they hadn't written who had painted it. So I kind of like, oh, that's nice. Who painted it? And so they said who painted it. Which they have an in-house painter that I think is pretty awesome. I also like the fact that it looks different if one goes in, sort of checks out Conquest and how things are painted. It feels very different from when going into, say, sort of Games Workshop. It's not at all the same sort of heavy metal style. It's more emotional, I'd like to say, and I like it. There's nothing at all wrong with the Games Workshop style. It's just we appreciate different types of styles in painting, and I really like how sort of Conquest presents their stuff. Yeah, Parabellum is the company. Sorry, I slipped my mind. And so I was like, that's a very cool model. And and then this sort of ended up at my doorstep. And it's rather large resin, which is pretty cool. Needs cleanup, as resin always does, but it doesn't look too bad at all. And so like that's, well, there's supposed to be a head on there and it's sort of standing on some kind of base, and there's stuff, lots of stuff. And so, if we compare the size here, it's a fairly large miniature. And I really want to paint this one. So that's probably most definitely going to happen next year, which is something I'm very much looking forward to. How did this fit? So that's fun. They've got tons of exciting news regarding. I'm just saying. I'm just very interested and stoked about all this stuff. There was in the box here. There was like January releases and some of the old Dominion stuff. This is for the Viking team, which is the Viking team is fun because you can have like trolls and Vikings and Valkyries and sea Jotnar, all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. Another one I really like is the Old Dominion, which is like the undead faction kind of, yet it's like a mix of ancient Romans, ancient Greeks, ancient Persians, almost slightly Venetian at times. And if you go to their website and check out, wait, can I show you perhaps? Maybe I can show you. Let's try. Conquest. Miniatures game. Apparently there's been a lot more of other types of Conquest going on. Paraplum. Featured products. Can we get to featured products? Is there a news? No, that's not it. Wants to send you notifications. No, thank you. I'm in the rest of the world. Apparently the world is divided into US, Canada, or the rest of the world. No, I still don't want any notifications. Thank you. Here we are. Okay. Can I press that? And can I get a full screen? And then can I share that full screen? You should be seeing this, I hope. Look at these statue thingies. How cool is that? That's like, I don't know. I just really like it. There's also statues shooting. This is like the undead faction, but this is statues brought back to life or something with black magic. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's something I'm looking forward to. This is the assembly instructions. Something I'm looking forward to in 2023 is, having a bit more of a closer look at Conquest. Can I get out of the full screen thing, please, so I can see the chat? No? Why not? It's a bit annoying. There we are. So that's pretty cool. That was one of the things on my list. We can now cross out sea Jotnar. Another thing, I've written like things I'm looking forward to in 2023. In case we don't have another live stream for 2022. If I do have another live stream before the end of the year, I don't know what I'll be talking about then, because now I've just sort of emptied the big sack of subjects. I don't know why I did that while I said big sack, but please pretend like you didn't notice. Dave from Mini Wargaming, I believe his Veil Touched miniatures will finally arrive. I hope I'm not lying, but I know at least that they're in like the final production, because I did a few videos for Dave and he sent me miniatures, but they were all 3D printed because obviously it was a Kickstarter, so the Kickstarter needs to, get kickstarted before they get into actual production of the actual miniatures. But I believe that there now is actual production miniatures, and that I'll be getting some to check out. And that's something I'm pretty stoked about as well, because I like the miniatures, and it's also been fun to be involved on a very small part of the journey by getting to make some videos on the Veil Touched. So that's something I'm looking forward to as well while we're talking about miniatures. Oh, hello. Matt has given me money. Matt says, not a patron person, but you do make the best looking videos on the web, and you paint pretty well too. Thank you. And fine, I'll go back and watch the videos again for apples. Thank you, Matt. You can mute. You can mute. You can mute. The entire video is just crafting and painting. So you can always mute it if yeah, and then check out the apples. Admittedly, it was very fast edited video. I watched. Is it Pete the Wargamer today? I haven't really actually watched all that many of Pete's videos. A few. And it just struck me the vast difference between how different videos can be on YouTube. If you compare sometimes my type of narrative with how in depth he sort of described. Are you still getting sound? Because I believe my computer just did something weird over there. Just give me 1 second. Should still be all right, but if strange things happen, then blame Windows, because I think Windows just decided to auto-update, and the sound is actually coming through, that computer that is now auto-updating. So if sound disappears, then I probably won't be able to get sound back. I guess we'll see how things go. And then we just blame Windows, okay? Because I did not say yes to an update. Why would I want to update Windows when I'm live streaming? Okay? Bill Gates, you're fired. Or something. Okay, we'll see how we go. But thank you, Matt, for the kind donation. I really appreciate it. Adrian says, quick, everyone, say more things. Alex has caught up. Yes, I have caught up. It's one of those things that happens. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. Joe Rogers says, what's your favorite Pokemon, Alex? Honestly, I'm not too well informed when it comes to Pokemons. I'm sorry. I don't even know what they're called. I'm just scrolling down in the chat to see that you guys have audio, which hopefully you still have, which is also weird because that computer over there, which is, yeah, we'll see. This made me nervous. Okay. Yeah, I don't know the names of Pokemons, I'm afraid. My son has tons of cards, but only because kids nowadays have tons of cards of Pokemon. He doesn't actually know how to play it. There we are. Janitor P says, Conquest is great. We play it at our local game store. Yeah, that's one of the things as well. I'm very stoked about the miniatures. I think that the style really speaks to me. And then I've been sort of digging in a little bit when it comes to the game, and that seems pretty good as well. So I'm just really interested in all of it. I think the entire package is alluring. Michael Strange, how are you doing? I hope you're well. Clyde says, love the possessed statues for Conquest. Yes, the ones that I were showing off. All of the new things look very nice, and so does the old things. So yeah. Ryan says, I have a suggestion. Would you consider painting and showcasing more indie miniatures to support the indie sculptor community? Support for unique artists would be fun. I tried to vary myself. I guess it depends on like what indie is, but if you look at, I'd say the majority of my videos are probably not about Games Workshop, or maybe they are. But if you compare to, I'd say, quite a few other creators, then I do showcase a lot of things that is not Games Workshop. That being said, I know people appreciate that, but also as soon as I don't use Games Workshop miniatures, then I get roughly about half maybe the amount of views on that video as one that has Games Workshop miniatures in it, which unfortunately at some point even becomes a financial situation, which is like, so do you want to make half of the money just because you don't paint Games Workshop, which is a bit sad, I guess, because the painting process is exactly the same. And, I'm not really big into the sort of Warhammer world that my videos are based all that much on lore. It's funny how lore and lore sound very similar, like Lore or LAW. Anyway. And so, yeah, I try and do it as much as I can. And then, what is indie? My main goal is to paint miniatures that I like. So that's step one. And then, yeah. Blue Fang says, love me some Nords. That's the Norsemen. If I get paid more on the next job, maybe. Yeah. Hope you get paid more. Autism Mind says, how much time do you need for professional miniature paint? I'm not quite sure if I get your question, but if you ask me how much time I spend on creating videos, then I'd say that's about a full-time job or more when it comes to time. That's not how much it pays. It pays a lot less than that, probably half or less. But that's about the amount of time I put into making the videos. I also have another job, so on a whole, that means quite a lot of the hours of every week goes into some kind of, production. How much of that is painting? That depends, but I'd say I probably paint at least 2 full days a week, maybe. Like if I make one of those Space Marine dioramas, that that's definitely 2 full days worth of painting, at least. Considering the factor involved of like having to film it. If you're asking like other professional miniature painters, like I guess the point, if you're just like a commission painter, I guess all you do is just paint miniatures all day. That's kind of your job, I guess. Matt Moran says those statues look amazing. Can't wait for that. Yeah, it's a pretty cool idea for a miniature, I think. Michael Strange says Dave is still in tears. Yeah, but that was about Henry Cavill, though, wasn't it? Not about his own miniatures. Or is he still in? Was he in tears over the miniatures as well? Because I just saw the Henry Cavill reaction thingy. which if you're here and you're not all that into Warhammer, it's essentially Warhammer is there's going to be films or TV series or whatever made, a sort of collaboration with. I don't know if it's going to be a collaboration, I guess, but Amazon has bought the rights to make movies for Warhammer, and a gentleman called Henry Cavill is involved, which is he's sort of the a living patron saint of Warhammer 40k, kind of, I guess. Matt says, "I will soldier on with the sound on." That's good. My chat is jumping about. I'm sorry. I'm not at all caught up. Or am I? Wait. Michael Strange just switched out his coffee for paint water. At least it's not White Spirit. Joe says, the sad part about 52 miniatures is that unlike 99% of other hobby YouTubers, you can't watch the production quality increase over time as it started at 11. Yeah, I kind of dug my own hole there a little bit. I actually kind of sometimes feel like I'm going in the other direction because I'm, just because things change, I can get intrigued in like, maybe I should just do a video without all the fancy stuff and see if people actually really like me or if it's just that they like my cameras. And yeah, I'm not sure what the answer to that is yet. American has got good sound but janky video. I hope it's just your internet. I watched Uncle Adam's live stream today as well, and he had janky video. And last time I live streamed, I had janky video as well. And I'm kind of wondering if there's something going on with YouTube every now and again or not. James Spencer says, I told myself 3 years ago that I needed to quit buying pieces of paper, and here I am, a magician with over 70 decks of cards. Sounds like me and paint, I think. That's another thing I'm looking forward to. 2023 is buying more paint, because it's probably going to happen. Someone's going to release a video, and it's going to be like, I found these weird artist paints that never have been used on miniatures before, and now I have used them, and you should get them. And I'll be like, yeah, sure, I'll buy them. That was another thing. That's another thing on the list here. Sorry, Dave, I just scratched you out. I watched Dana Howell's. I almost did that thing with the table again. I watched Dana Howell's video. I think probably her latest video. I'll have to. Okay, I'm going to write link in description. Link. Wait. Link Jordy and link Dana in the description. Dana Howell. I'm sure all of you already know about her miniature painting channel here on YouTube. If you don't, please check her out. She's been using Speedpaints from Army Painter and likes them a lot. It's like the Games Workshop contrast style paints, but from Army Painter. And there's been this thing. I've never used them. I don't really use contrast paint all that much. I do use Black Templar an awful amount. Not awful, but I do use it a lot, sort of like a black wash. But the other ones I don't really use that much. I'm sure there's more than just the black one. Anyway, there's been this thing about Army Painter's speed paints that they reactivate. So essentially that they take a long time to harden, to cure properly. And during that window of not being cured, they get reactivated with water. Bill Gates used... Stop it. I'm sorry, I'm talking to my... I think he's in there somewhere. And I'm just scared of the sound. Okay. So the paint sort of reactivates with water is my understanding. So if you paint another layer on top of that, and there is obviously water in the paint, especially if the more that you dilute it, the more you will reactivate. This is how I've come to understand it. I might be wrong. And so people have been like, well, this is a bit of a hassle. If you use the speed paint you painted on, and then you want to paint more layers on top of that, and what happens is you reactivate everything, and essentially that first layer of speed paint sort of dissolves with the new layers of paint. But she released a video of how she actually likes that, which is I'm really like that, because she purposely reactivates the paint. To the point where she can almost do sort of like it's working with oil paints or wet blending, but in an actually sort of simpler and more efficient way. So she's actually sort of worked with these paints, figured out the reactivation thing, and turned it into a positive thing instead of like a negative thing, which is what a lot of other people have done. And she's actually found a new workflow that she enjoys using this tool, which is great, and I admire that. So please check out that video. Anacon asks me, is that the sea Jotnar? Yes, this was the sea Jotnar. Marvelous thing. That's all I have to say about that. Phil says, fantasy terrain struggles with cliches. I began with 15mm historical and a green table with crop fields, hedgerows, hills, babbling brooks, pools, trees, and tracks. Just looks lovely to take in. Yes, which is really lovely, but it's also like that might as well be the fantasy table, kinda, which is a bit of a shame for the fantasy setting, kind of. S41NT Hardy. Maybe do a video or a series that does Games Workshop products with your best choice of proxy or alternative views and showcasing indie in one sitting. Yeah. I think my downfall as a content creator on YouTube is I am very much depicting my own hobby, and my own hobby is based on sometimes painting things for fun because I like the look of it, playing Age of Sigmar, and only painting things that I want to paint. I never managed to sort of like, apart from, well, I was even going to do the Space Marines, which was like, I bought this box of new Space Marines because I thought this will bring in the views. And look what happened with the Space Marines on my channel. I've never really wanted to do the YouTube that so many others are doing, which is nothing against that, but I've wanted to keep it like my personal story and not sort of fictional ideas of what the content could be. So I don't really do many sort of reviews or checking out new, obviously, yeah, this is just something that is about to release, and I'm talking about it, but only because I thought this was like one of the most coolest minis I've seen in a very long time, And so I appreciate your ideas with like the content, but I can't really steer it. I can't decide like I'm going to do more indie or I'm going to not do Games Workshop, and I just try and do what I feel like right now, and then sometimes sprinkle it with a little bit extra Games Workshop because I still kind of need to pay the bills, and that's just because of how YouTube works and what viewers want, which I'm not really okay with. I'm totally for the, my job should be to give you what you didn't know you wanted or expected, not just, please you. But YouTube is pretty much just one big comfort blanket. And so I'm kind of working upstream when it comes to that. Thank you, Blue Fangs, for shooting out the messages that were not suitable for this chat. Delta Boxer is asking me, what games are you currently playing? I assume you play PC games, looking at the Vault mug right there. So you mean PC games? I try and not play computer games. I get these weird fan noises now. It's like, what is it updating and how long has it? What is it doing? Windows, stop. Please. Anyway, computer games. I try not to play computer games. I just now, like a few days back, tried to play Conquest 2, I think. It's probably spent a total of 5 or 6 hours playing that, maybe more. And it's already eating too much time out of everything else. That's the reason why I don't play many computer games, because if I get stuck into things, and so there would be like only one video a month if I played computer games, probably, or I wouldn't have a job, or yeah. So I have played Fallout though, the Fallout 1 and Fallout 2, and then no, maybe not Fallout 1, but at least Fallout 2. Everything was still very sort of bits. Looked like Minecraft, only 2D, or yeah, you know what I mean. And then I think I played Fallout New Vegas when that came out. That's probably the last game I actually played before sort of realizing I could do other things with the time that I play computer games. But I love playing computer games. It's just, I sort of have to pick where I place my time. Hello to you too, with lots of acrylic letters in the name. I'm afraid I cannot read acrylic, but welcome. And hello, Henkischknecht. Adventures in Crafting says, I do okay with just filming on a cell phone, but you can tell a difference between my videos, builds, and yours. I should probably invest in a real camera someday. I mean, it's not necessary, really. Especially not the way phones are progressing when it comes to quality of, the stuff you get out of it. I think mine is more based on the almost 20 years of experience working with cameras more than the actual camera. If things ever become, if you realize that you can buy into something that makes your workflow easier or simpler, and or if you realize that this will really become an increasing quality, but that might as well sort of be a light, like a lamp, or some kind of a tripod that makes things easier for you. It doesn't have to be the actual camera. But Yeah. I think content really is king. What you talk about and what you build or what you paint and what you craft. And I can manage to sort of, like, part of my content is the look of things, but it doesn't have to be for others. Hello, Dan. I hope you're well. You've been mentioned already. There's a recommendation for strange, nice colors. Tempera Masterclass paints. So that is tempera paints, I guess. Yeah, there is a lot of paints about, isn't there? George says speed paints were my first paints. I'm personally not a fan of this reactivation feature as a newbie, so I tried Vallejo Game Color, very matte and very thick. Now I can definitely see how one needs to know about the reactivation thing, and you can't necessarily copy others like you have if you just have the speed paint on first, like a contrast paint, and then you want to maybe have a wash or do highlights, and then the reactivation would be annoying. I just liked how she turned that into a new technique, and yeah. Clyde says the Space Marine dioramas are gold. About the only reason I'd buy more Marines. Yeah, and that actually, I mean, it did actually start with the fact that I enjoy the Beaky Marine. I was like, this is the only, I like this. This is my kind of miniature. It's why you only see the Beaky Marines pretty much in the dioramas. There's no Terminators or I don't, yeah. I think it's a pleasing sculpt to experiment on with painting techniques and stuff like that. It's simple and effective. It's a great sculpt. So Nightfall says it seems like it's now winter dark time in Sweden. Looking at the light in your studio, yeah, I'm in a bunker as well, so there's no windows at all because I'm sorry, I'm just very interested in what my computer is doing. It's like restarted 4 times now, I think. The other one, there's 2 computers. Yeah. But no, so it's always nighttime in 52 Miniatures Land. Calvanoni, Merry Christmas to you as well. And Uncanny Jim Jams. George says it's Mikhail Gerazimenko in acrylics. Well, I'm glad you could read that. I couldn't. Dan, I'm well. I hope you're well as well. Bunker or basement? I say bunker. Some could say basement. That wouldn't be as much fun. I found this. I've had it for a while. I just wanted to show it to you. It's actually rather useless. Not really. But I find it pretty spectacular. This was designed in Japan in 1972. The first edition was printed in 1972, and the second edition, which is this one, was printed in October 1973. So this is rather old, which means that the colors have faded. You can see that this was probably maybe white, and so it's been sort of sun bleached and stuff. I don't use color wheels all that much, But I find this, I don't know if it's made anymore, but if it is, then I'd like to recommend it, um, because on this side it's got all the sort of fancy things where you can see what's the sort of you know, you pick your color, you get your sort of direct opposite. You have the split thing, you have the triadic thing, and then you can, you can spin this, and obviously things spin. On the other side, there's this sheet, and it's got clear plastic with a color tint to it somehow. No, it doesn't. I'm lying. It doesn't actually. Wait, it looks like that. But it shows you what happens when you mix with different colors. So if you have a green and you add red, which is it says here, with added red, you get a brown. Whereas if you add black to that green, you get a dark green. Or if you add blue, you get a sort of turquoise. Or if you add a yellow, you get a bright green. Which is, I figured that was pretty smart. And I've never seen it anywhere before, really, designed like this. Admittedly, I haven't been sort of wildly shopping for color wheels. But this is called the Grumbacher Color Computer. And I have no idea if this exists anymore. But I think like this side, if you want to get into sort of how to mix paints, this was pretty handy. It was, yeah. I just wanted to mention that. Is there anything else hiding under here that I should be? No. Greyfield says, just packed up painting some intercessors. There is something satisfying getting a coherent group of guys together, increasing quality and speed the further along the process you get. Yeah, that certainly is a thing with... I get bored, but it's very efficient when doing, like these fellows that you can't really see here. I just painted all in the one batch, and it's terribly efficient. And then the more you do it, it's not only that you do repetitive steps. I'm going to paint the gun black, and when if you're doing, a squad of 5 or a squad of whatever, after gun number 2 or gun number 3, you're starting to get a hang of painting the gun. So the gun number 4 and gun number 5 is it's pretty swift. And so not only is it sort of efficient to use the same color, just doing all the black on the same gun, you actually get better at painting the gun. And so it's a very sort of exponential curve thing. So, I mean, batch painting is a great way of getting through armies. Unfortunately, I get bored. So my idea of, I haven't been able to batch paint really anything out of my army. Well, I did some crossbowmen. I think I sort of batch painted them, at least in batches of 3. And there was 2 batches. But I couldn't do 6 the same. So I had to split them up in 2 threes. So some of them were blue and some of them were green. But that's just a personal issue in getting bored with batch painting. George says, 52 miniatures color wheel as a merch idea. Princess Damien says, I want a Vallejo wheel. There are, of course, some really nice apps for color wheels. Yes, there is. There is a painting app that is used a lot. But I honestly have some issues with the thought of not on color wheels, I guess. I like the analog idea. I like of being able. I very rarely use color wheels. I did for this project. But I like the analog feel of just having it there, being able to look at it and not having to pick up my phone. But there's an app as well where you can sort of, what color is this? And you can pick colors and it'll tell you like this is sanguine yellow or whatever, and this is snakebite leather and so on and so forth. Which is it's good because you can get an idea of like, wow, I really like that color. What is that color? But it also could be, regarding color theory, it might as well, that turquoise might have been a blue with a green wash on top of it. And so the effect of how the miniature was painted is not possible to do if you buy the turquoise paint. And the app might think, oh, that's exact match to this turquoise paint, But in fact, the way it looks on the miniature, because it sort of changes in the recesses and stuff like that, is that it was actually blue with a green contrast paint or wash on top. And so it looks like turquoise, but it's actually not. But the app tells you it's a turquoise. Because a lot of time when we paint, that happens. The different layers of paint affects each other. The ability to just be like, wow, that red, I really want one of those reds, but for something else. You're not looking at how the miniature was painted, you just want the red. Then it's a great option. But if it's like, wow, I wonder how they painted that miniature, and you go like, well, they used this red because the app said that's how they painted it. It's two different things, I think. Lee Sweeney, hello, and thank you for the Christmas money. Merry happy holiday hunting to you too. Thanks for the support, Lee. I really appreciate it. And you did almost miss me. There's only about 10 minutes to go, I think. Which means I should have I done my list? It says Christmas, be nice. So I guess that's encouragement. I guess be nice. It's gonna be Christmas. Be nice. You're not getting any presents. I don't know why I wrote that. The other one is like Dana Howell. Dave's Veil Touched, and then it says Christmas. Be nice. I mean, it's not a bad thing. So I guess it can stay on the list. I must have had some other more hobby related thought when I wrote that, but it's probably disappeared a little bit. We actually have that as on the Discord, which is for the patrons. There is sort of a monthly challenge, which is my view is it's sort of like sometimes a theme if you really want to like follow the monthly challenge, but a lot of the time it's like, well, I don't really know what to hobby with this month, or I just need to do something different because I'm bored with painting the army, or then it's like, oh, I could do the challenge, that'll be fun. But sometimes it's also just about trying a specific technique or stuff like that. But the so far standing challenge for December is to be nice, and to like try and spend time with others doing the hobby, like if that's playing a game, or if it's like trying to paint with a friend, or we've also sort of try and then also do a few more live streams, but on Discord, sort of hobby hangouts on the Discord, so that you can paint with a friend, but on Discord or whatever. And so that's sort of the challenge, is to hang out more with people doing the hobby, and I guess being nice to that person would be beneficial. So yeah, maybe that's why it was there. I don't know, but be nice. Princess Damien says, Malifor minis enrage me. Even the tiniest mini has so many parts, and many of them are 1 to 2 millimeters, and I see no reason why it could not be part of a larger part. I believe I'm with you a little bit there, Princess Damien. I think at some point, I didn't actually buy a Malifor miniature, but I was interested in sort of in the bits. And so at the game store, they let me open the box because they think I'm nice over at Alpha Spell, which is lovely. And I was like, whoa, what's all this in here? There was a lot of bits. Yeah. But that was just the one box. I don't know how all of them are. Marcin says, hello, Marcin. I'm still on live stream number 13, so I'll not watch this one now because I would not know what's going on. But I wanted to say hello. Marcin, please, welcome. Stay on the live one because then you can ask me questions or whatever. There's no like what do you say, thematic going. They're all just a mess of me rambling, and so you can watch. You don't have to watch them in order, but it's good to see you. Gordon says, you have a Discord? For the patrons. Yes, it's the only perk that my dear patrons, get. But yeah, it's a great place. It's one of the things I'm proud of. Is how the Discord has, or what the Discord has become in that community. Yeah, it's a very dear thing to me. Wingwalker says, I'm having a paint session over Christmas with my family who haven't painted before. I'm going to try Slap Shop with them. It's easy enough, and will hopefully give them results that will inspire them. Yeah, good stuff. I mean, it doesn't even have to be that, if you've never done it before, it doesn't even have to be that advanced. It doesn't even have to be as advanced as Slap Shop. You can just go like, here's a miniature and here's silver paint. Try hit the sword with the silver paint. That being said, it's kind of fascinating with people who try it for the first time, because it's like some are like, yeah, this was easy, and you look at it and like, wow, that was, how did you've never done this before? And others are like, smack, just hit the brush right on the, and it's just like, okay, so yeah, I mean, one colored miniatures that's fine too. It's I don't know if it's got to do with like if you used to sort of fine motorics. That's not the word. Anyway, doing small fiddly things with your hands, or if it's just that maybe some people have done some other kind of art, so they can sort of just translate that over to the miniature painting. I don't know, but it's always fun to try out. Just get someone who's never painted before, get them to paint a miniature, because it can be vastly entertaining. Jamie Mayers, hello. Fantasy scatter terrain, goblin run fast food vans like Glastonbury, but dingier, and selling unicorn burgers or something. Dwarven beer wagon. Yeah, definitely. Plato's Basement says, hello, think I'm a bit late for the party. Yeah, the party, unfortunately, is just about to end. And I'm actually getting a little bit cold now. I was really warm before because of the last minute World Cup action. But now I've been sitting still here for 2 hours and the tea is cold. So the bunker is cold in the winter, unfortunately. Adrian says Discord is ruled over by an iron-gloved despot, but it's jolly nice. Yes. I can be heavy-handed at times, but it's worth it. Yeah. Fine motor skills, that's the ones. Lee Sweeney says you should try to interview Henry Cavill. Yeah, I think probably every YouTube creator in this hobby has probably somehow tried to interview Henry Cavill. No, not really, but it seems to be. It's kind of funny with it's mainly Emil's fault, I think, Squidmar. But it's like it used to be sort of only a few months back. It was like you need to put Warhammer in the title, or people don't watch it. It's one of the amazing things of YouTube. It's like I can't see further. If I see Warhammer, I press that video. If it doesn't say Warhammer, it's probably not about Warhammer. But it's like, yes, but it's a picture of a miniature, and it says how to paint something really well. So, no, it doesn't say Warhammer. I'm not pressing it. And even better, you could have like the Warhammer logo on the thumbnail, and then everyone's like, this is a proper good video. Anyway, that has sort of been swapped out for Henry Cavill. So now it's like Henry Cavill's favorite paint. And everyone's like, what? And you press it and like, well, no one's obviously actually spoken to Henry Cavill about this, but it's like using the word Warhammer to let people know that this is a good video has now been swapped out for the word Henry Cavill, which is fine. Whatever. Both sides seem to enjoy it, so why not do it? It's like the creators do it and have a laugh, and apparently the people like it because that you press the videos. So I'm all for it. But I have a hard time. I mean, I wouldn't, yeah. I don't know. A lot of people seem to be wanting to talk to him. That's for sure. Adventures in Crafting says, thank you again for a wonderful live stream with great topics and advice. Thank you too. It's a rather good way to end, isn't it? We should probably end. I can feel my brain is a bit. It was 12-hour working day. Turned out to be not really working. Hanging out with you is not really working. But I haven't really been lounging in front of the telly. I don't have a telly. Lounging in front of the bookshelf. Scratching my belly has not really been what I've been doing today. I've been making videos, and I can feel it in my brain now. It's been, I think, during the later half of this live stream, it's slowly been melting. But that's fine. I hope you enjoyed it anyway. And if I don't get to see you, which I won't, like this in person, not until Christmas anyway. So Merry Christmas for those of you that celebrate Christmas. For those of you that don't, please enjoy. I hope what at least is a day off, and maybe you at least enjoy the food anyway. I enjoy the food. I mean, who doesn't like pickled herring? And might see you after Christmas, hopefully, for a live stream. We'll see how that goes. Otherwise, there might be, if my son's got Christmas holidays, and hopefully I can squeeze some stuff in just right after Christmas. But if I can't do that, then it won't be until January or something when we see each other the next time. I still hope to get some videos out during that period of time. But yeah, it's been good to see you, and I hope you all stay well. Bye.